Do the intro or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I remember this one time when I was in junior high getting called out in the middle of class in front of all my friends. The teacher was like, "Justin, don't you ever say that again." And I was so confused because I didn't know what I had said. But apparently what I had said was bad. It was not good. And what I had said was, "Oh man, that's jacked up." And I literally had to go home and Google what it meant, what that was slang for, because I didn't understand. And it turns out that was shorthand for the F word. And so I remember getting in trouble. That was definitely something I got in trouble, was my language for, growing up. My mom even did the whole washing my mouth out with soap once. And so anyways, today we're going to be talking about cursing and profanity, and is this something that the Bible forbids, allows? What does the Bible have to say? Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin.
And I'm Emily.
And you are watching That Christian Vlogger. On this channel, we like to help you try to understand more about the Bible and to make it practical so you can apply it to your day-to-day life. Today, we're going to be talking about the subject of profanity, about cursing. Things like that. I read an article recently on Relevant Magazine that was very, very interesting. Still not quite sure what to make out of it. I'll link it in the description below this video. But it talks about how the Bible, in many different situations, uses some very graphic language, the kind of words that your pastor would never get away with speaking, on a given weekend. And it got me thinking a lot about the nature of curse words and profanity. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that I grew up in a family that it wasn't like, it was around, but you probably didn't.
No, like gosh was a bad thing to say.
That's right.
Darn, yeah, like you didn't want to say that.
I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but in our circle, in our neck of the woods, there was these things called like veggie curse words.
Veggie curse words, yeah.
Where instead of saying the real word, you can get away with like gosh darn it, or I think
mushrooms.
You were telling us one earlier, Mariah.
Shut the front door.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
Even to this day, when Emily says something to me and I don't believe her, or I feel like she's just exaggerating, I'll say, "Oh, that's baloney."
Yeah,
and there's, we have, as Christians, we have these ways to like maneuver around the rules and the laws and things like that. But this article really got me thinking about language and profanity and all the times that the Bible isn't always the most savory, kind of wholesome language. It made me think, because there's several verses that a lot of people will quote at the very beginning. One of them, for example, is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 16, which says, "But avoid irreverent babble, for it will lead people into more and more ungodliness." Other words, we'll talk about shunning profane or vain language. Ephesians says, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths." And so we see a lot of times the Bible, maybe not a lot of times, I think those are the only two verses I could find in doing the homework, where it seems to say you shouldn't have any negative language or any kind of like vain or profane language coming out. And I agree with that as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah.
But does this mean that Christians ought to never curse? I'm not convinced. What do you think?
Well, now that we're kind of diving into it more,
we
it's
talked about this
interesting.
beforehand.
Yeah, but I can see like at a professional workplace, you're not supposed to curse. You have to keep it professional. So there's that kind of where I come from professionally. But what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I'm still working on this a little bit. I'm still thinking about this a little bit more. But I feel like there's a place for profanity in the life of a Christian sometimes. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think that it should just be casually done, that it should just be like, "Oh, bleep that, bleep that, bleep, 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 bleep." Like, I don't think that that's what it should be. But I believe that words have meaning.
Yeah.
And it's important for words to accurately portray what you're saying. I'll give you an example. Matthew chapter 15 it says in verse 8, "These people honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me." And what I get from this verse is that, words are important, but words are so shallow. Words don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. You can say the right thing, but if your heart's in the wrong place, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, as Christians, we're so focused on being polite.
Yeah.
And nice.
Proper and that's not a lot of times what we're feeling in our hearts. We put on a facade, and we may have anger towards someone and like think all these nasty things, but we're treating them really nicely.
Yeah, and I think about like how do you use your words and how does that reflect your heart? When I think about something like gossip, right?
Yeah.
or slander, right? Or, those kinds of things. Chisme, if you're in the Hispanic culture, is what they call it. But if you like smile and like give someone a hug, but then you talk behind their back, even if you're not using curse words, what about that? What about those kinds of language? What about those kinds of actions? Whereas, what if you called evil to its face using a very harsh word? Something that we were talking about, like hypothetically, what kind of scenarios could I imagine using curse words being appropriate? Something like, let's say that you find you hear a story in the news about some couple that tortured their kids, that I don't know, sold them into slavery or sexually traded them or something like that, or husband like rapes his wife or something like that. How do you describe something like that? To call him a bad man isn't strong enough. We say the same thing, oh, my bananas over there on the table are going bad. Like, I don't feel like that word accurately describes what these people are doing. Even call them wicked or evil, like, I don't know that those words are strong enough. And so part of what I'm kind of landing on right now is that I believe that certain words need to be reserved for certain situations. And for something like that, I think it would be very accurate to say that situation, that those people are effed up. Like that's really like how I would try and describe it. If I had to use only select words, that's what I think would accurately portray that. And what I think about, like, why I think that matters is because, words have arbitrary meaning. Who gets to choose what word is good, what word is bad? Like, society just determines that. What's the difference between calling someone jokingly, oh, you're a butt, in jest, but then all of a sudden when you say the word ass, like, that's a bad word all of a sudden. So I think that words need to have meaning. Words need to have carry a certain kind of emotion behind them. And it doesn't mean that we should be using them like liberally in the sense that we just use it all the time, every day, to describe everyday situations. But I think that in certain situations, strong language is needed. And especially as Christians, if we're trying to make a stand for righteousness and there's clear evil and wickedness over there, we need to be careful not to like just color it down and just to like make it all soft and fluffy and presentable. Like, sometimes we just need to call wickedness for what it is. And sometimes that kind of language, I think, actually helps with us.
I really agree that the context in which you use the word and the meaning can really put emphasis on like how you feel towards that situation. Like, if it's a really wicked situation. In
my family, we joke around a lot. Everyone teases each other, but it's always understood that like none of that is real. Like, none of that is actually how someone feels. In fact, it's like, you stink, or you're ugly, or you're getting fat, or whatever the case is. Like, I call my dad today. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Dad. Whenever you're watching this back, I first thing I say, hey, what's going on, old man? And I'm just like, we just tease each other, but it's a way for us to communicate love. The words might be one thing, but we understand the heart behind it. And I think that's something that's really what we want to focus on is your words can be one thing, but really where is the heart behind it?
Words for different people do mean stuff. So like, like whenever some, like you and your sarcasm could offend people, like on my side of the family. So you've done really good at like kind of knowing what to say.
Like turning it down from a 10 to like a 2. At the bottom line, what matters is what's in here, not so much what's coming out of your lips. But anyways, I know that that's probably going to be an unpopular opinion. I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to think. Read the article that I linked really below from Relevant, and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Let me know if you agree, why, or if you disagree, and maybe some other verses that I might have missed. Let us know down below.
But until next time, we're That Christian Vlogger, and we encourage you to experience faith in the first person. God bless.